What's up, fam bam? This is Chris Mizo here. Hopefully you're excited for the whole new 5600, not 5600 X3D. I'm thinking way a blast from the past, but more the 9600 X3D. That chipset or that processor will be coming out soon. There's already indications of it. Hopefully you guys have seen the new video that was posted today, earlier in the morning in the AM. And also, I do want to talk about Zen 6 a bit. There is something I'm very excited about, and especially for everybody out there who are gamers, are more than likely going to be excited for the Steam Summer Sale, and that'll be coming as soon as tomorrow. So all the greatest games that you want to get your hands on will be on sale. And I'm also excited about this whole Death Stranding 2. Let me know what your thoughts about it. It's a shame it's not going to be on PC again for probably for another year or two, because it always seems like releases such as Metal Gear Solid and games such as Death Stranding will be a later release on PC. More than likely, we'll actually see Death Stranding 2 on PC before we actually see Grand Theft Auto 6. Let me know your guys' thoughts. What's up, Aziz? Good to see you. Hopefully you guys are hyped for it. I know a couple people who actually played Death Stranding 2 and said it looks amazing. They have just the standard PS5 and still plays very well. So anybody out there that does have a PS5 and is interested in getting the game, let me know. Let me know your thoughts of it. I've played a bit of Death Stranding before, but I haven't really got into the whole story. I still had to complete the first one before I even entered the second one. So more than likely I'll try to pick up Death Stranding tomorrow during the whole Steam Summer Sale. I think the Steam Summer Sale will start or begin around like 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. Usually that's when it will start. Now this is also a open live, so if you have any PC issues about your PC, if you have questions that you're trying to figure out, feel free to ask. And also another thing I may add is, if you're looking to do any type of PC build, make sure to bring that up and feel free to ask questions if you're looking to upgrade any particular components. There's a lot of great deals that are going on, and I really can't wait to share the great deals with you about, excuse me guys, this whole lighting is a whole acting up here, so I had to make sure that the fan is turned on properly on this. But I do, so I have the remote here, so I keep playing with it. I got to go up there manually to actually adjust it. But before I do that, I do want to mention Zen 6 is going to be quite exciting, and the same thing with these Amazon sales that are coming up, which is Prime Day, and that's actually going to be 4 days. It'll be July 8th to July 11th. I will have a video based on that where you can do a PC build or upgrade your PC and components. Let me go mess with that light real quick and make sure that the fan is on. It's probably a little bit warm in here, that's why it's shutting off. Let's see. There we go. Now we should be good. Usually in a room like this where there's like 4 different PCs, it's always getting a little bit more warmer compared to the rest of the house. So this room probably is a good, decent, I would say like 10 degrees warmer, or I would say like about like 5 degrees Celsius. If you were to do it that way, 10 degrees warmer in Fahrenheit about, I would say, we're 10 to 15 in Fahrenheit. Warmer compared to the rest of the house. But again, feel free to ask any questions if you have any problems with your builds. You're thinking any specific cases, any coolers. And there is, I know, a lot of options out there. Intel has these really great deals. In fact, Intel actually dropped down the prices even lower than what they were originally. And yes, they had a sale earlier in the month, but can you believe they even dropped the prices down even further? So for a Intel 265K you can actually pick it up as low as $224, which is a awesome deal. And they do have bundles where you can buy an SSD with it or buy some RAM with it, and you're still paying under $300 for it. Currently, I know Micro Center has some. What's up, Bobo Purple? And yeah, feel free if you have any questions again for anyone that is in the chat here. Also, oh, I noticed something. Let me just double check something on the stream. What's up, Adawia? Adawia. Hopefully I'm saying that right. Right now I'm just checking something with this chat here on this side and on the Amazon. But I do have to say the Intel deals are looking excellent. AMD actually has some great deals as well. The 9600 X actually dropped down in price. A lot of the X's did. Even the 9800 X3D even dropped down a bit. You can actually pick up a 9800 X3D with SSD for still under $500, and you get a processor, an SSD, and I think you even get a game with it too now. Oh, I don't know why it did that. Oh, okay. I see what it did. Let me see here. Let me just sign into this thing. There we go. Because it's missing one. For some reason, every time I log into my stream here, sometimes it won't go completely into the chat, but now we're good here. What's up? What's up, champ? Currently, a lot of the deals are either going on Newegg and also on Micro Center as well. If you are looking for any of these Intel deals, I still have to check out Micro Center to check out their deals, but I do know for sure they have bundles going on. I know AMD does, Intel certainly does. I just haven't checked it, which we will check together actually in a little bit. But Newegg actually has a lot of deals. I'll actually show you guys. I'll go into Newegg's website here so that way you guys can check it out. And let's see. Let's go into the browser. And right here, so if you check out the 265K, right now, this is $251 you'll see right here, right? But this is also comes bundled with, as you see, it says free memory plus limited purchase. So if you go into there, which I'll share the link with you guys as well, it actually comes with 16 gigabytes of Patriot Viper's Venom. Only has 16 gigabytes, but then again, it's great to start off with. It also comes with 3D Mark, which is their test and benchmark GPU and CPU performance, which is a nice deal. This is always nice to have, especially if you're upgrading GPUs or changing out your RAM. And then you can see the difference in your 9800 X3D combo. That's actually Micro Center, believe it or not. Micro Center had their deal. I'll show you that one. Let's see, 90. I bet I wouldn't be surprised if Newegg also tried to compete with the deal. I'm sure they're taking on Micro Center a little bit more seriously now. Let's see. Right, that's the RAM right here. Oh no, where is it now? They have this one now, so now they kind of switched it up a bit. Let's see. Now they have $459 for this one, special saving with 32. Okay, so this one isn't it. Let me double check Newegg. Maybe it was Newegg actually. Yep, this is it. Free SSD with purchase, $472. So actually they have the better deal on a Newegg if you get it. So it comes actually with 1 terabyte of SSD. And this is it right here, valued at $70. They also have a few other bundles here you guys can take a look at, which are more of like a motherboard kit and everything. This one actually comes with the RAM, the motherboard, and the CPU, all for $787. This is the X870E. If you are more of an MSI fan, they do have a setup for that. Actually, here's a better one, an X870 ASUS TUF Gaming motherboard. It comes with the 9800 X3D, and it also comes with some RAM as well. And it comes So it's pretty stacked actually, because when you think of it, this comes with the RAM, it comes with the SSD, the motherboard, and the processor. So you know what that means. All you need is the GPU, power supply, and the case, and a cooler. Those 4 things, and you're pretty much good with a build. So that's like pretty much most of your build right there. You just got to get those four items. But I will certainly send you guys this information for sure if you guys are interested in it. It's all on Newegg. I'll send both links for you guys. I'll put it into the comments. Hopefully it lets me send it. I know sometimes it can be a bit finicky when it comes to the comments, when it comes onto YouTube or onto... I gotta figure out if I could do it on Twitch. Well, maybe it will. Maybe I'll post it up perfect on Twitch, which I will post up in a moment. But I gotta ask, how has your guys' weeks been so far? Hopefully the fan bam has been well. It's been actually not too bad. I've seen up in the Northeast region, it's been pretty hot, actually. For the Northeast region, my friend just texted me, and he said that it's about, yes, I think it's been pretty hot everywhere, actually. Even for him, he was getting 109 degrees. Pretty insane. As here in Miami currently, it's hot, but not nearly as hot. We've been getting about 90s, about like 90, 91. Yes. There you go. So just to let you guys all know, these are affiliate links whenever I do post something like this up. So make sure you check them out if you are interested. There's no extra charge or anything like that. That just simply just helps out the channel. And this one specifically the 9800X 3D deal. Let me get you the other deal too for the Intel build. And so what do you guys think about this whole Intel side? When it comes to Nova Lake, do you think that Intel is to be something to be trifled with anymore? Do you think anybody can take Intel serious once again? Especially that they're getting super aggressive with their pricing. And I think we all know the exact reason why they're very aggressive with the pricing when it comes to the 265KF. Now, you will be, what's up, Sanchez? You will be in the newer generation if you do choose to go into Intel's Core. It is the newest generation. But the thing I can forewarn you, if you do choose to go with something like Intel's processor and their motherboard, just think of it as the long haul. Make sure it's going to be a long-term investment, because this is going to be a processor and motherboard set that you're going to have to keep for several years. Reason why I say that is because it's not going to be a set where you can upgrade it. Unless Intel decides to upgrade the processors on the chipset, which is very possible. They could upgrade the processors, and this one is the Intel link. But the reason why I say that is because it's possible that they could build processors for their motherboard chipsets, but the problem is I don't think they will. I think they're going to be very focused on their new 18A processors, which is going to be Nova Lake and onto Panther Lake, and this is going to be on their new boards. I'm not too sure if they're going to call it a Z990. They might completely change the scheme when it comes to their name, because they might want to get away from the whole Z790, Z890, that whole name phrase. Same with the B760s or the B860s. They're going to probably step away from those names and probably completely name them something different, as they're trying to practically rebrand. Because when they came out with this chipset, apparently it was supposed to be their new rebrand, but apparently it didn't do as well as they expected. LGA 1956 looks like they're going to put their full investment in. But I gotta ask what you guys think about that. If you guys are interested in doing any Intel builds, I know there's quite a few people actually in here that's actually done some. I know somebody that's actually built the 285K, and they're very happy with it. Now, the good thing about Intel builds is that if you are into doing things like video editing, and you're also into doing graphic design and things of that nature, as well as gaming, Intel boards are actually great for that. Even if you get this board, even if you get a 265KF, knowing that this board isn't going to really be upgradable to the next processor, that is the one negative thing about it. But the positive about it is that it's going to be great for work purposes. It's also going to be great for anybody out there who is thinking of streaming and doing things of that nature. If you're looking for something more future proof, unfortunately I can't say that this board will be, but their next generation of boards more than likely will be, which is going to be again on LGA 1956, going to be based on Nova Lake. And AMD is taking the competition very serious, especially when it comes to their whole new Zen 6, which is going to be quite amazing. Hopefully, again, what you guys got to see that video on Zen 6. It seems very promising, especially with the L3 cache going up to 96 megabytes. That's quite insane, actually. That's literally almost like triple of what we're seeing compared to their current processors when it comes to the X3D, but who knows how long that will take to actually produce. If they're going to choose to go and release the same way as they did when it came to the 7000 series and 9000 series processors, their new Zen 6, I wonder if they're going to follow that whole same scheme where they'll just come out with the single X and then wait about maybe 6 months to a year down the line and then release the X3D processors. If they release everything all at once, that will be a very interesting move from AMD, but more than likely I see them spreading it out because that's just how they usually do. Now, the thing with AMD, their processors, when they do first release them, will always be the most expensive because it's brand new and it's onto the market. But if you wait, usually like about 3 to 4 months, you'll actually see the price decrease when it comes to CPUs. They actually decrease a lot quicker compared to a lot of other components, such as a GPU, which is something that does decrease over time, but it's not going to decrease nearly as quick as a CPU does. What's up? What's up, Elzio? What's up, Pla? So rate my build so far. Ryzen 7 5700X, Sapphire 9060 XT, 16GB, Cooler Master Hyper 212 CPU Cooler Master 750 watt PSU, 64GB DDR4, 3200 MHz, Gigabyte B550MK motherboard. I honestly think that's a great build that you got going on there, Pla. If I were to rate that build in 2025, I would say you are missing. Oh, you do have it. For a minute, I thought you were missing one detail. I feel yes. What's your SSD, by the way? That's the one thing I don't see on there. Then I can give you my rating. What does everybody else out there think? Again, what's up, Elzio? If I missed you, and Leon Lee 207 PC case. I like that case, by the way. What is your SSD, bro? Let me know. Because there's a lot of great SSDs. I'm excited because more than likely maybe this weekend we'll go do something. I want to take you guys to Micro Center, but it depends on how everything goes within the week. If everything goes planned as well, which is trying to get rid of some of the PCs that I got in here. I got way too many, and I don't want to build another one and add that one to the mix. If one of them can finally be let go of, then I will be able to go to Micro Center and we can do a live there. And I do want to finally get this Intel build up because, as you guys know, I do have this Gigabyte board that's just sitting right behind me. So I'm using my old SSD, currently PC I'm upgrading. Oh, okay. From a current PC that I'm upgrading, it's a Intel SSD. Okay, so if I were to rate that build, now I'm going to be very straight with you. So if I were to rate that build, and for 2025, I would give it a 7 out of 10. And the reason why I would give it a 7 out of 10 is because it's the positives are everything matches very well with each other. You got very good components together. I'm assuming your Intel SSD, the last time they made SSDs were in PCI Express 3. So they don't have anything for anything up on PCI Express 4 and up. That's one of the reasons. Second part is that you have an excellent choice when it came to your processor. You have a great cooler that matches with it. The power supply is perfect. It's not too much and it's not too light for your build. And I would say those components match the most, assuming you're gaming on 1080p or maybe even 1440 would be really pushing it. But if you're gaming on 1080 with a high refresh rate monitor, I would say that's a perfect build for something like that. And on the only negative, again, I say is about the SSD side. PCI Express 3, sure, it's cheap. You can get that cheap. It doesn't really matter about speed as much, so that's why it's not getting a big impact in rating. It's more of the other parts where you can't take full advantage of the 9060 XT, as that is based on the PCI Express 5, and you could be gaining a bit more power. Again, very incremental, very small compared to everything else in aspect of your PC build. But I would definitely give it a 7 out of 10 if I were to rate it. But yeah, so I do have to say, if you are thinking of upgrading any other components on your build, now 64 gigabytes is plenty. Your build is plenty. In fact, AMD even still supports AM4 boards, which is pretty nice. They actually just released the F5500X processor, which is insane. So they're still supporting AM5 all the way to 2025, and it's been out for a long time. So I plan to play Cyberpunk 2077 on a 1440p monitor. However, medium settings, yes. Medium settings, yes. It will run perfect. What's up, Zaylink? Welcome in. So 1440p on medium settings should be well. I'm assuming it's not going to be a super high refresh rate monitor, something like 240 hertz or 360 hertz. Is it? What's up, Alex? Good to see you back in here. So I do have to say, with that, I would say as long as it's not super high refresh rate monitor, it doesn't matter as much. Again, if anybody else needs advice and prefers to ask during the chat, I do feature you guys on Discord, and the Discord channel is right here. I was just trying to write the code to fix this, so it's going to look a bit crazy when this post. So forgive me for that. Anybody looking for the links for the processors for the 9800X3 3D, Newegg currently has on sale. It comes with a 1TB SSD, and it does have the 9800X3D processor for a AM5 board for $472. They also do have the Intel's 265KF on sale, $234. You can get it as low as $224, but $234 you actually get the RAM that comes with the processor as well, where I highly recommend everyone to take advantage of. Dude, I can't wait for the 9000 series because I'm an ITX enthusiast. That would be great. I agree. I could see this becoming more of the future. Because speaking on what Zaylink is talking about, saying that seeing CPUs are going to be like really not CPUs, but more like APUs, integrated graphics, are going to be taken advantage of, which I will definitely cover just after I mention this. Leo says, I'm happy to report my build has been running strong. The ASRock motherboard and 9800X3D hasn't given me any issues. I linked it into the Discord a couple days ago. Yes, his build is quite beautiful. In fact, let me show it to everybody here. I do feature everybody's builds on it live, so feel free to send your builds if you want to show them off. And everyone has some really beautiful builds, especially when it comes to their PCs, because everyone gets more creative. They have the looks, and here it is. It's right here, and let me show it to everybody out there. Yeah, I know. Congrats on going halfway through college, Alex. It goes by quick. I'll tell you that. Everything goes by quick. As you get older, time certainly goes by a lot quicker. So let me go into the Discord, guys, so you guys can see it. Let's see, where's it at? There we go. Perfect. So this is it here. This is his build. So I'm going to zoom in on it. That is quite beautiful. I really like that. See, I miss those CPU coolers where it has like that infinity mirror. And this is like kind of like what my the Threadripper build that I have has, but it's by just like the reflection of it. He has a Sapphire X. He has a 9070 XT, but it is a awesome build. And here it is. Let me zoom in on this so you guys can see that. And I will hit the play. That is looking good. But that was his build there. Congratulations to Leo for that. For getting that build done. It looks incredible. I'm glad you're having a great time with it. I'm glad it's working well. I hope you did the whole BIOS update as recommended. So the Ryzen AI Max 395 is looking into the future. Certainly is. I gotta say, it's only going to get better. I'm building a portable PC for university. Oh, really? Are you? That's awesome. You gotta send the pictures when you're done. Nice to see a rare fellow PC nerd. Legendary. Yeah, thank you. I will build a PC once I get a new job in this summer. Certainly, yeah. Hopefully you find something good. Like I said, you could always go through entrepreneurship. You could always open up your own business and start trying to do your own thing. Easiest way to make money for sure. I'm building an ATX PC similar to that for my cousin. I'm really happy with what MSI has been giving out with monitors recently. I recently got the, yeah, you know what? Even their monitor arms are on sale. I should have grabbed it. I gotta find that link, but their monitor arms are even on sale. But yeah, they're MAG 1440p, 180 hertz, and it's even though good VA color. Yeah, VA is actually really good for gaming. So if anybody has any doubts about it, it is actually great for gaming. Some people might not like it because of the ghosting, but it is still incredible color-wise. If you use it for any type of, like, even if you're watching movies and everything, the colors are actually decent. They actually look very comparable if you compared it to something like I can't say OLED, but something the closest you can get to next to IPS. But getting back on the subject about smaller PCs, and speaking of which, because I think a lot of companies are starting to realize this, and a lot of the console companies actually, like Sony and Microsoft, because I'm sure you guys have heard the rumors that Sony wants to build a Vita 2, which is going to be like the PSP 2 or the AKA PlayStation Portable 2 or whatever you would like to call it. But apparently on this project, it is also rumored it's going to be more of a Switch hybrid type like console. So it's very possible that PlayStation might go the route that Nintendo Switch does, where it's going to be a hybrid system. Apparently from the alleged leaks, it's supposed to have low-end graphics of a PlayStation 5, but still manage to be portable. And for Xbox, for Microsoft, they are also thinking of doing the same thing, where they are thinking of having a hybrid console. Again, similar to Nintendo, but it's going to be on the go type of system, so you plug it in and dock it when you need it. So I wonder if any of these companies are also thinking of taking advantage of something like NVIDIA's Link GPU, similar to what they have for the ASUS ROG Ally, if you want to get more graphics out of it. It would make more sense. I'm surprised Nintendo didn't think of something like this, because this would do really well for the system. Instead, the dock is just upscales into 4K versus actually graphically computing at 4K. So that is something I wanted to bring up as well. We all seen the ASUS Xbox ROG Ally, which is going to debut in the holidays of 2025. And once it does, I think that's going to be quite more impressive than everybody thinks. A lot of people think it's just a ROG Ally with the Xbox button, but there are some changes on there, such as the Z2 Extreme, which is going to be a leap forward compared to the original Phoenix, which was the Z1. But going back here, let's see. ITX builds the way to go, Alex, if you are thinking of it. I'm heavily divided on buying a 9070 or a 5070. Well, AC, think of it like this. The easiest way I can describe it is, are you going to do any type of like media work, or if you are doing any type of video editing? If you are, just go NVIDIA. It would be the better option. If you're just gaming, AMD would definitely be the better option for sure. Because if speaking of encoders and more of software compatibility, NVIDIA is more friendly because of the CUDA. If it wasn't for the CUDA, then it wouldn't. I would recommend AMD. AMD is also good for using into things like DaVinci Resolve and everything like that, but it won't be as good compared to NVIDIA. I need a physically small PC. I'm obsessed with ultra-wide 32. You know what? I have a discovery I got to discuss with you guys. But waiting for the QD OLED 1000R. Somehow none have been made. Only 1800. I do agree. They don't have enough. But there is one LED or OLED monitor that I'm really interested in. I actually discovered it today, out of all things. I discovered it almost through an ad. And I gotta hear your guys' thoughts about this. But it's just expensive. Plus, says, I really like the ASUS TUF. If I use the 1080p 165, they are great. But MSI is, in my opinion, yes. It all depends on the type of monitor that you pick out from the ASUS line. Just like the ASUS TUF, that's going to be on their lower end of the side, their lower end of the spectrum. Then they have the ASUS Strix, which is better than the ASUS ROG. So I can agree with you there. They have their tiers. MSI is the same way. They're always like neck and neck when it comes to ASUS. But to be honest, I feel ASUS is the one that does really come out with the products before MSI does. Or in an occasion, MSI can do better than ASUS at certain areas. So it all depends on their products. But I got to say, ASUS has been killing it with their monitors. I am looking forward to their upcoming OLED. And that's supposed to have true deep blacks. True deep blacks, glossy monitor, and it's supposed to absorb light compared to most glossy monitors where they reflect the light, where it's harder to see. What's up, Snecker? Good to see you. Zaylink says 9070 XT is a huge performance difference between the 5070. It's closer to, I do agree, it is more closer to the 5070 Ti. Again, it all depends on usage. Use AMD if you use Linux. Linux is good for that. NVIDIA if you want to do, yes. And AC 480, if you want to go AI upscaling, I go 5070. If you want raw power, I go 9070. I'm not going XT. I'm thinking of either having a 5070 or 9070 and BIOS flash it to have the XT. If you do, okay, before you do get the 9070 graphics card, if you choose to do that, if you want to do that BIOS flashback, make sure it's a dual BIOS. What is a dual BIOS? A dual BIOS is where if you look at the GPU, it has two different modes. It's going to have, say, silent mode and performance mode. If it has that setting, if it has that switch on there, it has a dual BIOS. Reason why you want one is because just in case, if the BIOS flashback does not work as intended, if there is a problem, then you can go off of the other BIOS. So always make sure to get the dual BIOS configuration. Otherwise, AMD or the company that of your choice, whether you get it from Gigabyte, ASUS, or a Sapphire, they will void your warranty if that's the case. So I can only set up a 720p quality on YouTube. Are you using Windows or Linux? I run Windows since programs, launchers. Sapphire Nitro is always my go-to after. Yes, they are amazing. I love their GPUs. You get high quality. It feels like a $2,000 GPU, which I can tell you, the build of it is wonderful. You can compare it next to a video card, and you would still think this Sapphire card is like a $2,000 card looking at it. I prefer the Nitro, seems to run cooler under heavy loads. It certainly does. It does run very cool. 50 series only has DLSS 4.5, which is, in my opinion, still overrated. 46. You know what's funny? I have to say, they did they have the 9060, not the regular 9060s, but they had the 9060. They don't even have 9060s actually. They have what's called 9060 XT. It's kind of weird, their whole naming scheme. I first have to say, when it comes to AMD side, they have the AMD 9060 XT, and then they'll have the 8 GB version, and then they have the 9060 XT 16 GB version. So when you do choose it, just make sure you select the memory of your choice, the VRAM of your choice, because they don't really have just a standalone version like how they have the 9070 and the 9070 XT. They really got to fix this on the AMD side. But I do agree with Zaylink. It is overrated when it comes to DLSS, because you know why? I can tell you. Because when it comes to the 50 series, I hardly ever use, first off, I don't use any frame generation at all, because I feel that you lose performance more than anything, and it doesn't look as good. And DLSS is always optional. I prefer, instead of DLSS, I always like to go DLAA instead, because that is certainly more superior compared to DLSS. That's supposed to be better performing for when it comes to, say, like a 5070 or a 5070 Ti. It's supposed to boost your frames, plus the frame generation and NVIDIA's low latency reflex. You're supposed to have all those settings set on at the same time in order for it to work correctly. And the same thing when it comes to the whole variable refresh rate. That also has to be locked in as well. So, but to say it is overrated because you are more than likely not going to use those settings. I always thought I was. Excuse me. I always thought I was going to use those settings, but I feel like it's just unnecessary, and it honestly feels like more like bloat than anything. So, Snecker says, I'm still getting high temps on the low load on my CPU. 9700X with an NZX T240. That's a good AIO too, not overclocked. So, are you? I gotta ask Snecker. But I remember your situation. Your situation is you are also gaming in a warmer area, correct? Sib says, is the AMD Radeon 780M graphics good? It's decent. It's a decent card. Don't expect miracles on it, but I'd say it's a decent card. You still can be able to play current games on it. With the Lenovo B570 graphics is Intel's HD 3000, so that's based on ARC. The CPU is i3 2330M, which Lenovo will use NVIDIA's GT, which will use it. It would use the So anytime you have a combination like that, then it's going to be based off the graphics. This is actually the Lenovo I'm thinking of the graphics card B570. It's going to be based off your 1080 Ti, if anything. I have extensively tested the 70. Yes. So, yep, that's exactly the case. It's going to be able to perform well. So when it comes to the 7.8, mix it. Now I got my tongue twisted. The 780M will perform well. So don't worry about it. It will still perform on many of the games that you do enjoy to play. In fact, I could look up a game that their system requirements, and I could show you what it would require even on the minimum recommendations. So thanks to A-Link, I only want the graphics for Minecraft. Okay, if it's just for Minecraft, then you certainly can get away with it. It won't be an issue. You'll still experience a lot of fun in Minecraft with something like that type of setup. And even if you were to get games such as like other games like Fortnite and everything, you won't have issues if you are more of a battle royale type of person. But depends on your games. But if it's strictly Minecraft, you'll be perfectly happy for certain. So William LaPrairie says, I prefer the X3D as they don't require high memory speeds. Cache makes the 300. Yes. That's all. What do you? I gotta ask you, William. What's your thoughts of? Hopefully, you guys did see that the whole Zen 6 because that's insane, right? 96 megabytes of L3 cache is quite insane. I need a good GPU for a 1080p for an ITX case. If that's the case, well, we can always do a quick build, put it together, and we'll go into Newegg and we can create that build together, and I'll send it over to you, and or on Amazon actually, for especially for those who are in a European region where you don't have access to Newegg. Amazon's another great option to go with. ITX cases, there's this really nice one I always like, which is Fractional Designs case. That project was, I know, quite a lot of 180. Yes, there is a problem when I put GTX 1080 Ti, still doesn't show up. When I put RX 580, it's working, which is the issue. I swapped the CPU, still not working. 1080 Ti Lenovo. Well, it's not going to be, it sounds like it's not going to be your CPU. It sounds like it's a GPU issue. Is the drivers properly installed? Is it recognizing the 1080 Ti? Because it sounds like you're describing it as it's not showing up at all. Do I have a PSP? I used to. Not no more. I should have kept it though. I should have kept all my old handhelds. I mean, it's a great system. I personally feel the PS Vita was underrated for sure. I love that thing. Persona was my go-to game on it. So with my climate, I might try and get into hardline water cooling. Yes, that would be nice to get into water cooling, but just remember, always make sure to treat every once in a while. You don't want to leave the same system, because then you don't want to get the water carbonized. Let's see. That day was very hot, hitting 65. Yeah. Now when that temperature is normal, and monitored the temps for a couple days. Okay. So sometimes the thing is, like, especially when you put a new AIO or something, it's almost like a break-in period. When you put fresh thermal paste on, it might not really cool off right away, because it's going to take time for the thermal paste to kind of spread. And once it does, like once it's like about a week or so, then you'll actually notice the temperatures cool down a bit, because then it's adjusted your system. So it could be that, because you did just put that AIO in. Give it a little bit more time, and more than likely, I expect they'll be good to go, really. Not gonna lie, you should buy and do video. Yeah, you know what? That's not a bad idea. I should try to pick one up. I am building a 4-liter ITX case, like as large as 2 soda cans. 17. Oh wow. You know what's funny? I actually speak to Alex about this. One of his ideas, which is pretty insane. I'd be kind of nervous to do it. Like I was telling him, was going to do a PC build off of everything off of AliExpress. I honestly would be afraid my house would catch fire. So, AC says, I'm going to be using coolant made for water cooling. Since yes, that's a good choice. That's the best way to go, and especially when it comes to cooling a PC. What has been your favorite game this year? I've just been playing. Yes, I gotta say that Expedition 33 is definitely on the top of the list. It's been an amazing game, and I played all kinds of I actually got a lot more games than I thought I would this year. But so far, Expedition 33 is definitely on the top of the list. Even though recently I've been playing Elden Ring, and this is like really my first like playthrough going with it because I've been playing with a friend on there, and I gotta say, man, that game is a real pain in the ass. It's like it's almost like you're playing for hours, and then during those hours you're like, man, I feel like I didn't accomplish anything because I haven't even really gone through the story, but I'm building my character, so to say. I got him up to like level 51, and it just seems like I'm just never going through the story, so I feel like I'm not doing anything. So I go for more threads on Unreal Engine. True. Because again, like the minimum that they require at least, like for a lot of those games, is like 8 cores now. So before it would just rely on just a single core when it comes to gaming, but now gaming has become more complicated now. So now it's definitely good to have a multi-core processor while gaming. I want to go for the minimal amount. When we're when I go, I'll see. I'll see. That's something I might do over the weekend, for sure. It is a bit pricey. I might go and grab Corsair water. Thank you, Park. I am a cool and chill guy. I am open to talk about everything. Grab the Corsair water cooling setup since they made super simple build setup. You know what's a really good company that does it is EK. EK does like really great water cooling builds. Look into them. I'll show you. EKB. I'm looking them up right now. This is a really good company. Again, I'm not sponsored by this company or anything, but this is a great company. EKWB is a great one to go. They also have an AIO even. It's called the EK Nucleus. I'll show it to you guys real quick. Oh, Stellar Blade's been excellent. Actually, that's another great game on the list. I saw a short about once. Oh, really? Oh, wow. I just saw that, Alex. I saw the Discord on it. I still am remodeling my room, but it's a bit tight with monitors. I am about at my wit's end. Can I Yeah, sure. Feel free. Again, anybody who runs into issues, feel free to contact me on Discord, and I will do my best to help you out. Oh, it's still showing on here. I apologize, but that's the Intel processor that's on sale currently, $251 for it, and it comes with the SSD. I'm going to show you guys this right here. Let me just put it in here so that way you guys can see it. This is another company I highly recommend here, and they do water cooling. So you just get their plates and everything. EKWB is really good. Next to, if you don't want to do something like Corsair's, and they have a lot of different custom loop options here. I'll show you guys. So if you go here and you go to custom loop, you can see they got quantum lines. They got the RTX 50 series water blocks already here. Usually with their water blocks though, you have to see if I usually recommend having a Founders Edition when you do something like that, but if you have one, you can get their water blocks here. But it's really actually a really good company to get from. What game was like a must play in your opinion? So now I gotta say everybody has to. I keep telling. It's funny it was brought up earlier. Expedition 33 for this year at least. A must gameplay for this year is definitely Expedition 33. For me, like through all time, I'm a big Ninja Gaiden fan, believe it or not. I love Ninja Gaiden because that was like almost like the you know how they always say games are like Souls-like and everything? That's everything is compared to a Souls-like game. Ninja Gaiden was like the first one to really be like a tough game to play. So I'm really looking forward to Ninja Gaiden 4. Another must for me, again, like I'm very particular about my genres here because it's like I'm like in this odd category when it comes to games. Another game I do really like a ton is Shenmue, which is similar to like something like Yakuza, but of course it's not as their story is completely different, but the idea is based off of it. But Shenmue was like one of my favorite top games, and but I got a whole list I can really name when it comes to gaming for sure. James Hill. Who's this EK? They're actually a great company. So definitely don't look that whole. Yeah, that's what that that's what that was based on. I'll show you guys again if you are confused. It was based on this right there. So they actually have witter blocks and everything for your GPU. They have it for your CPUs. AMD edition. I'll go to right now. Here goes the AMD one right here. That's pretty dope looking, right? Pretty stealth looking. They also have, but for those who are looking for Radeon, here it is. But this one's a 6800, 6900. The thing is, you just have to find the perfect build or the perfect blocks when you start off with when it comes to your witter cooling here. So, Cineglimpse Studios, assuming you're into doing more video editing and everything like that, what is the best processor for ASRock B550PG board? So the best processor I can recommend you, and I'm assuming that you're using it for more of like video editing type of work because of your name. I'm just assuming. You can correct me if I'm wrong. If you're using it more for gaming, I would highly recommend using something like a 5950X would probably be the best you can go on a board like that. So, William says, I went with Deepcool's air cooler. Great cooler. That's actually AIO I actually have on the Threadripper. -20 off my CPU from Edtrick water cooler that costs twice as much. Put all my intake and bottom of the case and 2 exhaust fans in the back. That's excellent. Deepcool is actually really good. That's like one of those like smaller brands that I can really endorse because I've had it on my Threadripper for years and it's still working great. In fact, this is the same streaming setup that I have. The Deepcool cooler is on it. So what's your opinion on gaming laptops? A waste of money. 100%. I feel like a gaming laptop is not really worth it. The reason being is because you're never going to get the full capability of a GPU. Even if the laptop claims it's carrying an RTX 5090, you don't have the full power of a RTX 5090 inside of a laptop because it only can hit a certain parameter when it comes to wattage. So it's a waste of money in that sense. Even you're going to pay a lot more even on top of it for saying a 5090, but in reality, they're all kind of blend in, to be honest. Sure, you might get a little better performance, but it's not going to be a great big performance. It's best for those to get say like a 5070 or even like a 4070 laptop. It's actually not going to be far off the gap when it comes to performance. I bet if you compare the benchmarks and you see them next to each other, it's not going to be that different. So gaming laptops are certainly a waste of money. So what's better, a ASRock B450M HDV board or which one? What's the best? Same. So for the B450, it's going to have to be the same. It's going to have to be, assuming that you're trying to look for a more of a processor where you're looking for better rendering, is the 5950X. Gaming video editing and 3D works. I thought so. So yeah, that would definitely be the choice, is the 950X. So TMP 7950 is absolutely amazing if you are if you can be bothered with the hassle. What's most die in 5 years? But currently run with the Ryzen 5 3600s. Okay, so if you currently have that, if you go with the 5950X, it's going to be a very, very big difference. A tremendous difference when it comes to rendering and encoding and decode. It's going to be a game changer for you. You would feel the upgrade. There is only one laptop that has ever fascinated me. Which one is it, Z-Link? I saw this other one my friend showed me. It was like an Acer laptop back in the day. And that thing was incredible, but it was a $10,000 laptop. My old rig has a B550. I ran the 5800 X3D, 6000 memory. Runs good as my AM5 rig. I can believe it. Because, again, AMD really cares about their products, which is nice. So they're still producing processors for AM4, that's impressive. 2025, still producing processors for AM4. Yes, absolutely. If you like temporary fun and throw, okay. Yes, it's like I feel like anytime I'm actually more impressed by an item like the ASUS ROG Ally, which is I feel much more fun having compared to having a laptop, believe it or not, compared to a $5,000 laptop. And the ASUS ROG Ally is going to be only like $600, $600 to $650. But you have more fun with the ASUS ROG Ally because it's meant to be portable. For a laptop, it's meant to be portable, but again, it's portable to a certain extent. And you're paying for power that's not really existent. So I feel like laptops are kind of is a market where it's not really truly fulfilled. We'll have better FPS on my Ryzen 5 5500s. You know which one I'm talking about, right? So like, it was insane, right? Like it looked like an ultra-wide monitor practically with that laptop, and you could actually, and if you're looking for the trackpad, you just flip it around. Full-size keyboard, had numpad. It also had but yeah, it was amazing, that laptop. Again, $9,000. We'll have better FPS if I have a Ryzen 5 5500 and an NVIDIA RTX 3050 if you have other options. If you're comparing the two, you mean if you're trying to get better, are you trying to get better FPS out of that combination, the CPU and GPU combination you're talking about, the 5500 and 3050? That would work. You won't experience any type of bottleneck or anything like that if that's what you're looking at. But are you talking about upgrading from the what was the processor you had? You had the 30. I know it was the 30 something, right? What you're running in your setup? What am I running in my setup? Currently, I'm running something like on this streaming build, I run a Threadripper and an RTX 3080 Ti. On the gaming PC, I've been heavily working with a RTX 5090 and the 9800 X3D combo so far. But if you're interested in any of those videos, it's all listed on my channel. I have all the video builds. Right behind me, I actually have the 9070 XT build, something that I've been messing with. On one PC I haven't touched in a while is the 4090 build. And currently I'm trying to get this, trying to offload some of these PCs. If anybody's interested in PCs, go to chrismizo.com. If you're within the US, I do ship my PCs. So just let me know if you are within the US and you're interested in purchasing a build, feel free. And let me know. I'll try to hook you guys up with a good deal. It's on chrismizo.com. Acer fell. Yeah, it's They're certainly not the same. I always like their monitors a lot. Is it the thick 20? Yes. Yes. That's it, Zaylink. You got it. That's the same one I'm thinking. Any info on Steam Decks? Unfortunately, not. No, nothing on Steam Deck. They were supposed to actually release more information. Actually, sometime in the summer now, but haven't heard anything. Not since 24. Yeah, since last year. Last thing I heard is it is under production, but they're very tight-lipped about it. They won't say a word about anything. They won't say nothing to nobody. They're good at that. How bad is the Ryzen 5 3400G? How bad is it? I wouldn't. You mean like just using it as in just like for gaming? If you're trying to game on a 3400G, it's not going to be great. Monitors make a huge difference at 1440 as well. Make sure they have dual processors for frame generation if you're using AMD. Yes. You know, I am happy that a lot of monitor manufacturers now, instead of, remember, especially for people who's always been into PCs, they'll remember that you had to buy a specific monitor if you're using it for NVIDIA. You had to buy a specific monitor if you had something for AMD, which was called FreeSync and G.Sync. And the good thing is they got rid of that, thank God, because again, that was unnecessary, and everybody knows that was complete BS in the first place, because regardless of which GPU you had, it will work on either monitor. But so VESA completely changed that up, and now we just get the refresh rates that we needed. And another thing they also fixed in the whole monitor market, in the display market, was when manufacturers would count as 165 hertz, but then it would say only on overclock, or it would say overclock in parentheses, because they wanted you to think that this monitor was 165 hertz, but in reality, it was only at 100 and only at like 100 hertz on its standard mode, but you would have to overclock it in order for it to get to 144, just say. But big boy setup, I had the 7700X and the 7900 XTX, and not sure when I should upgrade. I would say only upgrade if you feel it's necessary. Is the display, depends on your display. That's the big part of it when it comes to something like PC builds. Are you going to up your display? If you are, then you might consider it. But the 7900 XTX is a very good build, actually. You still have 24 gigabytes of VRAM, and you still have a lot of capability on a lot of games. So I wouldn't really worry about it until you start to notice that you're not getting the performance that you're looking for. So the deal with Xbox and Steam has killed all info on Steam Deck. They're very tight-lipped about it. I'm curious what AMD has up their sleeve, because AMD is obviously working with something on Microsoft, and they said they're evolving on their AMD platform. But in time, we'll see exactly what they mean by evolving on their platform. If you're playing at 4K, it shouldn't matter too much, except if you're playing a CPU-bound game like Spider-Man 2. Agreed. But it all depends on the type of game that you're playing. I can say, though, I was impressed with when I got to play with the Z2 Extreme. I got to play it when I was at CES to see how the performance was. The game was Spider-Man 2, ironically, and it actually played very smooth. I couldn't see the frames. I didn't get the chances put the statistics up or the stats up to see what the frame was running at, but it certainly felt smooth. And this was on Lenovo's Legion Z2 Extreme, but I didn't see that they had it yet. I saw that they do have the Lenovo Go Z2, but I haven't really looked into the specifications of it, and I'm not sure how much of a leap it's going to be, because again, we would have to benchmark the two to see how much of a leap they are from each other. Will AMD? Yes, it will support B550. You just have to update your motherboard. That's it. My new monitor has AI built-in frame gen built in. Oh, really? I've seen that. That's the big thing now. I think MSI, I was actually reading, was doing something on that where they have AI built into their monitor. That must be the same one. The 7900 XTX should last another 4 years, certainly. That's what I'm saying. Like 7900 XTX, more than likely you'll be good for a good while. It's the FSR4 thing for me that's making me want to go from a 7000 to a 9000 GPU. Yes, FSR4 is great, but just to let you know, I can say it is great, but there needs to be more gaming companies that support FSR4. That's the only issue I see with it. They need to get more FSR support. AMD's GPUs are great nevertheless, so if you do want to switch over to a 9070 XT, it's been amazing. I've had no issues. Currently, if you guys follow the channel, you guys know I've been working with a Gigabyte PC Build where it's currently running in 9070 XT and it's been running flawless. There's no need to have AMD's. You don't really have to have AMD's frame generation or anything like that on, which is nice. But it runs really smooth. You don't have any extra noise in the back that you don't need, such as background tasks, which run unnecessarily. All that is completely not necessary on a bad site build from what I've seen so far. Of course, it has its quirks that I'm still working with. And but I can certainly say, like, both on bad site and Windows, it's been great. Sold my PC for oh, wonderful. Hopefully you don't regret it. Oh yeah, yeah. I would imagine. I was surprised how well it was running actually. I'm gonna wait till Z3 Extreme. Okay, so that's good. Thank you for following Real Joe Official. Really appreciate it. Dr. Katz. So, oh my God, Bazlight Gnome is goated. Yes, it's wonderful. I'm using it right now on Legion Go. It's amazing. I'm actually currently on the ASUS ROG Ally. I got Steam OS on it, and I do want to do a comparison. I'm going to check the battery soon but I can say it's great on Steam OS, but I'm going to compare the Steam OS to Bazlight to see which battery is better when it comes to it. And I can tell you off the bat though, from Steam OS comparing it to Bazlight, you're going to have better compatibility when it comes to something like Bazlight over Steam OS, even though it's great and everything, but it's been made specifically for the Steam Deck. So unless it becomes a little bit more open on that sense, then it will certainly improve once it goes into other devices. So Alexander says, my build is ass, bro. CPU, Ryzen 5 3400G. Yes, I know. I know you've been really missing that build. Hopefully get your PC built together soon, Alex. I am wishing the best for you. Hopefully you find the position that you're looking for. Unreal will be getting plugged in for FSR4, so okay, perfect. That's awesome. I'm happy to hear that. To be honest, it's only Linux distro I have liked. Yeah, Linux, yeah, because you have more capability if you're just using Linux distro. It's you don't really have limits. When you do use something like Bazlight or Steam Deck, I'm not Steam Deck, Steam OS, you have to deal with flat packs mostly. But when you have a open, like when you use a Linux distro, you're not limited to just flat packs, which is nice. But then again, some people might not like using the terminal or using any type of console when it comes to using any type of Linux OS, because again, you have to get used to doing everything manually. It's definitely improved over the years Linux, to where everything's into, you have actually an application launcher now, which is nice compared to having to manually type everything to open up. So is the Ryzen 7 2700 still relevant? To an extent. I think the minimum for a lot of specs from what I've seen are starting to reach about that I'd say about that mark, actually. There's some I've been seeing that's starting to push towards something like the AMD's 3000 series, but again, a lot of them I've seen, like, I think the most I've seen is like 1950X maybe, but that was it, like for minimum requirements. But I think you're still in the clear for now, but I would think about upgrading sometime soon, especially how I am certain we're going to see quite the change in graphics. And especially with Unreal Engine 5.6, I think that's going to be a big change. It's going to be better for sure, but I don't think they're going to go backwards practically. So I'm building a PC for your... Oh, nice. I'm sure he's excited for it. Flatpaks made my Linux... Yeah, that's... Yes. Yes. Linux Mint. You know, the first Linux that I've ever messed with was Ubuntu. That was the first Linux I messed with, and I learned so much, but boy, that was a headache. Dealing with everything on it. Downloading everything off the internet through not the Flatpaks, but through terminals practically. Thoughts of AM6? I'm very excited for it, James. I actually just released a video based on that Zen 6 this morning. It's going to be quite the game changer. Excuse me. It's going to be quite the game changer, especially for its L3 cache. They're pushing up to 96. They're talking about 6 gigahertz. Because of how much L3 cache that they have, you're talking about possible 24 core processors from AMD that are X3D, even up to 32 cores. So it's very positive. I think that's going to happen for AMD. It's going to be quite the leap, actually, from over 7,000 in the 9,000 series. I know AMD has the best of the best silicon chips when it comes to the upcoming 10,000 series. It's certainly going to be an eye-opener. And the crazy part is they could just continue having the same board. It's still going to be on AM5, which is great for everyone who has an AM5. And it kind of makes you really think about Intel, because that's actually going to be very competitive to Intel's Nova Lake, which is, again, requires a whole new motherboard. You can't be on Z890. They're not producing anymore for it, unless if they do, it's certainly still not going to improve over the current Zen 6, which is planned by AMD. But I can say AMD still manages to keep the same board, but manages to power up their processors. So you wonder, there's no wonder why AMD is winning over Intel currently. So AM6, it's been leaked out. It's been leaked out because there's been updates where they mention about AM6, not AM6, but about not AM6, but Zen 6, and there's leaks about the whole 9600 X3D, a more valued chip for those who are looking to get an X3D processor. And it's only 2 less cores than the 9800 X3D, so you can still expect it to do really well. And it's still practically the same, which is a 32 megabyte cache, just like the 9800 X3D. So that's the only difference. But if you're multitasking, that's where you're going to see quite the difference, especially if you're trying to stream on something like a 9600X. You'll notice the difference. So, okay, I got you, Alex. Yeah, that's why I wanted to stream a bit earlier for everybody out there. I know, especially for the European fan bam out there. Again, I appreciate you guys out there for tuning in. I wanted to make sure to get one earlier for you guys, so I wanted to make sure to get in and do a 6 o'clock show instead of a 7. But thanks for joining in, Alex. He's our moderator for our Discord. Leonardo. Yes. Awesome. Fixed a small ARGB problem. And by realigning my magnetic fans, and that was it. That's awesome. Glad you fixed it. Oh, and my monitor resolution that I currently use is 3440 by 1440. So I use an ultrawide, and it's ASUS's PG34 WCDM I use for my main OLED monitor. This is it right here. And for this one is the LG34. What is it? LG34? It's their IPS 180 hertz monitor that I currently have. What would actually translate with tangible performance and uplift, if any? So, you meaning like for gaming wise? Like when it comes to, are you still speaking of AM6? Yes. I know. You know what though? I wouldn't be surprised if AM5 still continues to live on through 2030 even. Because, I mean, look at AM4. Again, they're still making processors for AM4. They just came out with the 5500. So, yes, it will certainly be much more stable. You can expect much more, the frequency to be even better when it comes to when it comes to Zen 6. It will probably only benefit those using the 5090. To be honest, I think we reached a peak of CPUs. And you know what it is too? We also reached, you know where we peaked at too? When it comes to the process nodes, just like what you're saying. Because currently, this was a while ago when I read this, but currently the smallest node that they can currently make TSMC is at 0.8 nm, which is insane. Can you imagine how small that is? Like, how do you even work with that? So join Discord, and yes. All right, enjoy your time at your uncle's. Yes. I am an ultra. I use both ultra wides. That's why even like if you notice how my stream is set up currently, it's actually set up for ultra wide. Even though if you enlarge the screen, it'll still fit 16:9 no problem, but it's also fits 21:9 very well. Or if you're on a 32 screen too, it'll actually fit. Oh, really? Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. I take that back. Maybe AM6. But thanks for wearing it, champ. He actually won one of our contests, and he was awarded the shirt. Anybody interested in getting the FanBam shirts? It's down in the. It's actually in the YouTube store. So feel free to check it out. It's on Fourth Wall, or check out my website. It's on there too, chrismizo.com. But I take that back. Maybe AM6 will give better 1% lows. You know where we'll actually see improvements for it is especially for those who enjoy doing things like video editing and everything. I think we'll actually see some decent gains there too. And those who enjoy doing like 3D modeling, they might see some benefits out of it. That's a possibility. Like, what would 24 cores do for gaming if not utilized? I get your point, but I think it's more or so the fact that you can use it for multitasking purposes. Because say if a game is using up 8 cores and for some reason you have 18 tabs on Chrome open, and we all know if you have browser tabs open, that it will eat up at the RAM very quickly, and it's certainly going to take up CPU usage. So that's where those extra cores could come in handy. And then there's going to be somebody that's going to have these tabs open. They're going to have some sort of software open, such as ASUS Army Crate, and then Corsair iCUE. Say they're open at the same time. Again, this is all CPU usage. So the 24 cores could be in use for something like that. So 5070 Ti or 9070 XT. LSG, good to see you. And again, this kind of goes back on to the point of, are you going to be using it for editing too or streaming? If you are, go NVIDIA. If you're not, go AMD. AMD performs very well gaming wise if you're just doing a PC gaming build. And if everyone doesn't know, I actually list AMD's Radeon RX 9070 XT as my favorite card of the year by far. After all the cards I've been testing, 9070 XT is certainly the favorite of the year, even compared to the RTX 5090. I gotta tell you, it's an amazing card, and it's mainly the price point. The drivers are excellent. I haven't had issues with AMD's drivers, as you know, they are known for bad drivers throughout the prior years. But I can tell you, AMD's card has just been excellent. The NVIDIA if you're a creator or for workloads, mostly gaming, yes, absolutely. Cheaper for same performance and more VRAM and better company. Exactly. Absolutely. And see, I feel that these other companies need to also work with somebody like AMD, but it seems that right now they're very focused on the whole AI segment and doing the next evolution of whatever they're planning. Apparently, they're planning something with Microsoft, and I'm curious to see how that turns out. When will we see PCI Express Gen 5? You know, that's a great question, James. And I'm sure Zaylin could tell you the same thing. To be honest, we don't even utilize PCI Express 4 as much as we should. PCI Express 5, let alone, we probably will start utilizing it by the time PCI Express 6 gets released, to be honest. Especially when it comes to SSD speeds, we're not going to use it unless you're planning to do transfers. If you plan to transfer very often, you'll see it. We do use it somewhat, slightly. I mean, very like incremental on something like a RTX 50 series. And that's because it requires PCI Express 5. But you're not going to see a large decrease in performance because of it. Yes, I know it's kind of sad, to be honest. It's just that's like a very big marketing portion. So when you hear PCI Express 6 just released, actually PCI Express 6 has already been in the industry for a while. It's just not for consumers yet. They're actually working on PCI Express 7 currently. So again, it's just yes, it's the SSDs, the GPUs. They make it sound like this something that you need, and they're very good at that. They're very good at the marketing side. But I can tell you, you're not going to be taking advantage of those NVMe speeds when it comes to. Oh, you want to get through, Jonah? That's Jonah just trying to get through. That's if you wonder what the mascot is, that's actually the dog. He's squeezing right through. Go ahead, Jonah. Just moving it. Go ahead, Jonah. There you go. It's funny. He's trying to walk between the tripod, but he's having a hard time going through it because he's wearing this donut. Let me show you guys. It's pretty funny. I actually got a camera for him, and yeah, he is. It's funny. I'll show you guys. I'll turn on the Jonah cam, and you guys can see him. And let me turn it on for this. Oh, there you go. Hey, you see? He's trying to get through this obstacle here. Oh, he's figured it out. Okay, he's on his way out. But he was trying to get through this area here, through this tripod. And that's why, if you wonder why there was a camera movement, is that a Corsair ATX in the back? Yes. Yes, that is. That's actually, you see that in the background? That's actually let me see, right there, let me point it directly. But that's the Corsair 5000X. If you guys are familiar with the channel, that's my earlier build from when AM5 first released. This was the ASUS ROG Hero X670E build on a RTX 4090. That's actually on the website for sale. So if anybody does want it, let me know. Again, I have too many PCs around. And up here, that's if you guys can see it, that's the RX 9070 XT build. Again, it's just a mess. And you see this package here? This is actually from a PC company. Can't wait to share it with you guys. This will go into the build. I can't say what it is yet, but you guys will see exactly what it is. Let me turn off the Jonah cam, but I will certainly show you guys more. There we go. Maybe I think he just went out to get some water. That's all he did. Lad, I got the X670 and then the save for the 150. Do any gaming consumer GPUs use PCIe 5? No, unfortunately not. Microsoft wants to use it for direct storage, meaning for similar to what they use for their gaming, like for Xbox. But it's something that's always been in talks of using direct storage, but it hasn't been quite in use yet. I'll turn on the Jonah cam for you guys again real quick, because I'll show you what he's doing now. There he goes. He figured it out. I'm going to say, what's up in the stream? There you go. Yeah, he wears this donut too because he, just in case. There he goes. He wears this donut because he likes it. He gets obsessive with his paws licking. So if you guys are wondering where that mascot came from, it actually came from this little guy. He just turned 13 like a couple months ago. But yeah, he's been doing really well, thankfully. No medications needed. And so Gamers Nexus has done some very good videos analyzing PCI Express speeds. The godlike motherboard for MSI users, the godlike motherboard from MSI uses it to expand your storage with Gen 5 NVMe's. Oh, that's not bad usage of it. Now you also have to be careful too, because when it comes to the PCI lanes, when it comes to Gen 5, even though they'll say that they're all Gen 5, technically they are, but if you use up so many lanes, then it will take up the speed of one of the lanes. For example, I know on every motherboard, not just on ASUS or Gigabyte or MSI, but any board that you work with the X870E and you occupy the lane with, say, a graphics card by X16, and then you get another 2 SSDs, you want to occupy those lanes in the proper area. For example, you might see M.2_1, M.2_3. Now, M.2_2 may be a PCI Express lane where it actually splits with the X16 lane. Then it will make the PCI Express lane X8, X8. Doesn't matter if you're using PCI Express 4 NVMe, like if you're using something that's M.2 but PCI Express 4, it will still manage to split the lane because it still sees it as using up that lane. So just be wary of that if you are planning to use something like if you are trying to fill up your PCI E's lanes, just make sure you don't use up that speed. Now, some motherboards, such as MSI, I know ASUS does this too, to where it has a auto switcher, so it will only take up X8 if it needs to. For example, if you don't put your games on the M.2_2, because we both know that if it's the X8, if it's occupying X8 and you're gaming off of it, you're only going to get X8 performance off of your GPU. Now, if you're gaming off of your M.2_1, then you should be able to game on there with no problem because you're not using M.2_2 at all. But once you access that drive, then it ends up splitting the power. So I know that was kind of lengthy of an explanation, but hopefully that makes sense for you guys out there. Do you think the RTX 4060 is a bad GPU like a lot of people think? I don't think it's really a bad GPU, especially after the RTX 5060 came out. I had to bring that up. After the RTX 5060, it made the RTX 4060 look pretty good, actually. And let alone they're coming out with the RTX 5050 coming out sometime soon. And the crazy part is they're going to be focused on. I know it's like kind of like a inside joke with all us PC users, how they're gonna have DLSS 5 for the 5050. So I can check my GPU lanes, but I do not check the lanes for SSD and BIOS. Typically, you don't have to, but you'll notice it on the X670 gaming AX motherboard. Yes, I actually spoke about, not on this motherboard in particular. Maybe I have. I spoke on the AORUS, what was it? The AORUS, not the AORUS Master. Maybe the AORUS Elite. It was one of them. I looked at their boards only one of them, it does occupy the lane if you do use it. I think it's the, I can't remember exactly which one. I think it was the _2. I do have a video based on it, but you can double check it to make sure. You can do a bandwidth test to see if it's running at your speeds as expected. But I would definitely do that to check it out. If you want to double check it, more than likely, you're probably okay if you haven't noticed anything. And typically, to be honest, as we were discussing earlier, what's the difference between PCI Express 5, PCI Express 4? Even if your lane splits down to X8, most people won't notice. And the reason being is because we don't utilize the speed of PCI Express 5. Because you know what PCI Express 5 is once it becomes PCI Express X8? Once it goes to X8, it practically becomes PCI Express 4. That's it. So you're not really going to notice a large difference, especially if you did occupy all your lanes anyway. So if you did occupy all your lanes, then you're not going to notice that much large of a difference because, again, you're going to be experiencing speeds of PCI Express 4 instead of Express 5. And again, even though it's a large difference in speed, it's not being utilized for that type of speed anyway. So the RTX 4060 is extremely good for a few reasons in my opinion. 115 watts means low heat for my tiny builds with poor airflow. It can be slotted to the office without upgrading the power supply. It's tiny. That is true. It only requires one connection really for the 4060, which is nice and efficient about it. People just tend to only focus on the performance and forget about everything else. Exactly, and that's the problem. So it's I've done builds to where people ask, oh, how come you put this type of card in there? Like, why did I use a 1650? Or why did I use something like a RTX 3060 or something like that for a build? And the reason being is because everybody has their purpose. I know for sure that this person is not going to be using their PC for a certain purpose. And for that purpose, for example, I know this person isn't going to be either gaming, or they're not trying to create LLMs or anything like that. So why would they need a great graphics card like that? So again, everyone has their preference when it comes to PCs. For example, you have people that use their PC strictly just for Photoshop. And if they're using it for Photoshop, you don't need a crazy GPU for it. And it's 100% not necessary. Again, there is niche users out there that have their needs. But I do agree with Zaylink. Everybody has their specific purpose when it comes to PC usage, especially when it comes to PCs. I mean, everybody has their specific needs. Some use it just strictly for productivity, such as spreadsheets. You know, the person that's going to be using it for spreadsheets does not need a crazy GPU to do that. But there is, again, very specific uses for every GPU that's out there. And again, some people want to just game and they don't want to play at max res. And that was always the big thing when it came to PC gaming. You have to have max resolution. But the funny thing is, has anyone noticed how quick that kind of died out? Like, nobody ever talks about going max resolution anymore. Everybody is either talking about being able to play the game, first off. And the second part is being able to hit a certain rate of refresh rate instead of actually being able to get max res. It's almost like it's a forgotten thing anymore because it's become so diluted with so many different options when it comes to graphics and screen resolutions and comes to refresh rates. It almost seems that getting max resolution is near impossible now, even if you were to get the greatest card. So I think my dad has a RTX 4070 PC, and he only and exactly that's the purpose. I mean, not purpose, but that's the reason. Like you, even then, like a person doesn't even need a 4070 if they're using it for Microsoft Word. Like if they're using it for a Microsoft Office suite, you don't need you don't need even a GPU for that. You can technically get away with using a decent APU would be great, or even just using the just like a 79, not even a 79, like a 7600X. Some people could really get away with, and they would feel that their PC's great. It's working awesome. So, what's the refresh rate that do you think ideals for most people then? For most people, in a general idea, in the general range, I feel that for most people, especially for those who are not gaming, I feel for most people, I feel 60 hertz is actually pretty good for them. Now, again, not for gaming, just in the general range. Now, for those who do game, I recommend at least. It's so funny because it's so dramatic. The difference is maybe 144 hertz at the minimum, because again, they'll see it different in games. Because for those who work on video editing and everything like that, it matters more about color more than anything. So when it comes to color, they want the most accurate color space when it comes to a monitor. So the best thing to look for them is something like being able to have 12-bit color. If you're able to have 12-bit color, you know that color is going to be very good on that monitor. That's why like monitors like IPS and OLED monitors are recommended for those cases. Now for the average everyday user just using it for Microsoft suites, again 60 hertz is also good for them because they may need an IPS monitor, VA monitor they might pick up. They might feel like it's a bit ghosty for them, but they might not even care about it because again they're just using it for the standard usage. Now when it comes on the gamer side, we're like the connoisseurs when it comes to like monitors. We're very specific, if you ever notice, which is pretty funny. So say link, tell your dad to adopt me. That's funny. I'm personally happy with 144. I feel that's like a very comfortable rate for most people, to be honest. I'd say it may be true that the human eye can see 140 hertz, but you can certainly feel or almost like sense the difference in speed if you are using a higher refresh rate monitor. For example, if you're gaming on something like a 360 hertz monitor, you might not notice that much of a difference from 144 hertz. But if you go back from a 360 hertz down back to 144 hertz, you'll notice it because you've been on 360 hertz for a while. That's the only time you'll start to notice things like that. You might question yourself, it's smooth, but why is it not as quick? Like your reflexes won't feel as quick. So I would say that's the best way I can describe it. So real black of yes, I agree. OLED is amazing. Definitely 100% the best monitors you can go to. I know a lot of people complain about different things like OLED. But by the way, I got to bring this up for everybody out there. And yes, I'm waiting. That's another thing I'm waiting for is micro LED too. And I've seen it. It's beautiful. But another thing I had to bring up out there. Did anybody out there see the whole hardware unbox thing about Nintendo Switch 2? I saw it on X, and I've seen the disparities between this Nintendo Switch 1 and Nintendo Switch 2 on their displays. And if you guys have seen it, spoiler alert here about this, if you care about watching the video, I can say between the two, the difference is that the Nintendo Switch 2 has 50% less resolution than the original Nintendo Switch LCD. So it actually has 50% less resolution. But the OLED, of course, is going to be the greater one. So some people might ask why. Nintendo had said it was a better screen when it came to the Switch 2. Again, completely false premise. I think Nintendo's been hanging around Nvidia too much, to be honest, and they kind of influenced them on this, like on the whole marketing side. But I do got to say that there is going to be quite a large difference. First off, LCD is not going to be nearly as fast as a OLED display. OLED is much quicker when it comes to latency. So if you compare the latency between a OLED and a standard LCD, cheaper display, you're going to see the difference. So that's kind of true. I noticed input difference from swapping to 240 hertz to 120, though visually it's close. Yes. So didn't Samsung create a 57? Yes, they did. I just wonder when it's actually. The thing is, you're thinking it's the Samsung Arc, I think, right? Samsung Arc is a 55-inch one, I think. I returned mine after that hardware unbox video. Did you really? So for PC monitors, there's the TVs, but they're too expensive. Oh yeah, I heard about that. Even with the HDR colors being a fake HDR on Nintendo Switch 2. It's a shame, right? Because you really think Nintendo, I always felt like was a solid company. I honestly feel like they were one of the companies that really helps innovate in the gaming industry, especially when you see every type of console they released, because everything that they release is typically innovative, right? All the way, you could go back from their original, all the way from the original Nintendo, all the way to Nintendo Switch, original OG Nintendo Switch. But then you have to ask, what happened with the Nintendo Switch 2? They definitely sold a lot of units. That was not an issue for them. So they have a success on that side. But the problem is, how is the long-term success going to be for Nintendo? Because there is nothing really different or revolutionary about the Nintendo Switch 2. The only difference that I've seen was the Joy-Con. You can actually use it as a mouse, which is nothing special, because any console you can plug in a USB mouse and it will work. You can try it. On a PlayStation 5 it works. On an Xbox it works. You probably would do it on Nintendo Switch if you tried it. So there's nothing really special that I personally feel about the Nintendo Switch 2. And I was really disappointed. Even though they really wanted to push the sales of Nintendo Switch 2, I just can't support something like that either. Because it's just, you're just duping people into buying just another console to purchase more of your games, which isn't going to be that great of a console anyway. There's a 57-inch micro LED ultrawide. Oh, really? I gotta check that out. There's something I want to share with you guys. This is what I saw, which I got very attracted to, and I will share the browser on this. I personally can't wait to go 16:9, 21:9. It honestly is. I do agree. It is certainly a sweet spot. So I wanted to share with you guys this, right? I saw this. I saw this through the LG ad right here. What do you think about that? The first 5K monitor. I've been asking for something like this. A 5K OLED monitor. Now the specs are pretty decent. As dual mode, where you can go 165 hertz in Ultra HD, and you can also go 330 hertz in Full HD. Let me get the joint cam out. Since he's over here, I can show you guys what he's up to. Right there. LG 5K 2K, yes. And I've been really waiting for something like this. I don't know if anybody else has. This is something that I felt like they could have came out with for a very long time. Let's go into it real quick. But you know what? The price is a bit insane here. Let me turn on the Jonah cam here for you guys. Oh, it's not on this side, but I'll turn it on as soon as I get back to the talking side. We go back up here. Shop now. So, okay, let's take a look at the specifications. So, oh, it has an aggressive matte coating. That makes sense. It lacks the monitor depth that glossy OLED has. I agree. You know what's funny? This is OLED monitor, the PG34 WCDM, and I always kept this laminate on. This glossy laminate, I feel fine with it. I'm kind of scared to take it off because this also has a matte display. So it says it's 125 ppi, so it's sharp. Stunning bright OLED, 1.5 million to 1, which is good. That's a great contrast ratio. It's a 45-inch OLED monitor. Very fast. Of course, response time is going to be quick. It is OLED. DisplayPort 2.1 bandwidth. Seamless frame sync. And it doesn't, you know what's funny? Let's see if it says it in the specifications. But look at the stars. You notice that it only has a 3.3 rating. If you look at the stars here, up on the top. So some people are not happy with it. Great budget. OLED is the Philips Nvidia for only $500. That's a great deal, honestly. This is a bit expensive though, too. This is $2,000 for this. Yeah, I don't know what they were thinking. Might as well sit around and wait for the glossy one, right? So, where is it? 178. I know they have it here. It's going to say here. Peak brightness. That's pretty good, actually. The brightness is good. DCI-P3, 165 hertz. Where is it at? They only give you the pluses. They don't want to tell you that it's a matte display, or if it's glossy. It's funny how they do that. 2-year warranty is nice. Yeah, if it's true though, yeah, check it out. Anti-glare. Yeah, exactly. That is true. Anytime you see anti-glare, it just means aggressive matte coating. Now, I'm sure many people out there who do use a monitor for gaming or anything like that, where I'm sure you guys are very mindful of where you place the monitor. No one's gonna be in the right mind to place it in direct sunlight in the first place. And it's just rough on the monitor too, because it does end up like wearing on the monitor too if you sit it on direct sunlight. It just doesn't look good either, because it's always going to bounce back. So that's a big argument when it comes with people when it comes to monitors. Is it necessary to put anti-reflective coating such as like that matte display, so that way you can see the monitor better? To be honest, if you place it in the right direction, it's not going to be a problem. Or if you have it on something like a monitor arms, you can always set your direction. For example, you can set your monitor down to face away from light. So if you face it in the correct direction, there's never going to really be a problem when it comes to reflections. So matte is for workloads in light room. Exactly. It's like you have to have plenty of light in a room for it to really be effective. Glossy certainly makes a difference. If you notice on a lot of TVs, such as LG's OLED C3s or C4s, their TVs are made very well, glossy. And again, if you ever wonder why the quality is so good, that's one of the main reasons. It doesn't disperse the light like matte does. That's the only problem with it. Speaking of which, I know there are fiber-powered HDMI and DP cables, even with swappable ends, but they should upgrade it and officially to fit optics to have more bandwidth and distance. Oh, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Agreed. I agree. There's also talks, I gotta say. There is upcoming talks, especially from specific companies. I think it's a great idea for them to do this, for companies to do something like this where they would, instead of having everything hooked up to your monitor, almost have like a transmitter to your monitor. Your monitor would be way lighter, as it doesn't contain the ports. You would hook up into a box, and then it would connect into the monitor, wirelessly anyway, and it would still be seamless. It wouldn't be any issue transmitting. I can see that being the way of the future. Monitors would be like much more thinner, like almost like paper thin, which would be insane. But I do know they do have they did officially release HDMI 2.2. If you guys haven't heard, that's like another new standard that they released, and that's something I can certainly share with you guys. It's a wireless GPU all over again. Yeah. Hopefully not. Hopefully it's better, like in a better sense. But I know the argument is strong, and it always has been strong, especially like when you compare something like Wi-Fi, right? And you can have Wi-Fi 7, right? And anybody out there who uses internet, and everybody knows who does have internet, will always prefer the Ethernet wire. They will always prefer a Cat 8 wire over some Wi-Fi 7 router, and that's because you're going to get a better connection that way. If you have a decent connection with a, there's no way for the connection to break if you have an Ethernet directly hooked up. But when it comes with a wireless, there's always going to be some way that the connection can break, if there's some sort of interference, which is the large part of it. So hopefully that's not the case. For example, mouse has improved over that. Keyboards has improved over that. But as we know, it's still not quite perfect. There still can be issues when it comes to wireless connections. And again, we have this obsession with being wireless, but yet it seems like hardwired always still works better. So it's wireless GPUs all over again. I don't know. You tell me. So I was just searching up Wi-Fi 7 today. What the heck is... Okay, so the difference between Wi-Fi 7 and say Wi-Fi 6 or Wi-Fi 6E is that the difference between the two is you have 160 hertz band, really, when it comes to like a Wi-Fi 6E router, which I have right over here. It uses single bands to be able to, it uses single bands, traditional bands, like how a router typically is used. So you can connect to the router, say your phone, your TV, or whatever. It still uses the one band, right? So when it comes to something like a Wi-Fi 7 router, it combines them two, and it becomes a 320 hertz. So that way it's able to use all the bands simultaneously to be able to get a much better connection and a much more secure connection and a much further connection. So it's a bigger leap over, say, 6E or 6 to 7. So that's the biggest difference between 6 to 7. The only problem is that there's not a lot of devices out there that supports Wi-Fi 7 just quite yet. There's some phones that do, some motherboards that do, such as the X870Es do, the Z890s support Wi-Fi 7. Very little phones. There's not many phones that do. There's no real many laptops that actually do. It's very few devices that do. But the problem also is if you do go to Wi-Fi 7 and you want that full compatibility, you have to swap everything over to Wi-Fi 7. In fact, Nintendo Switch 2, it's not Wi-Fi 7, that's Wi-Fi 6, which is pretty insane. But again, there's not many devices. You had to switch everything over to Wi-Fi 7 for compatibility, and I'm 100% sure it's not going to be perfect either. So does Wi-Fi 7 improve Wi-Fi distance reach? Yes, it will improve distance reach. I live the countryside, so Wi-Fi is very weak and unstable. How far are we talking here? It will help you reach, but I would highly recommend. You're still on Wi-Fi 5, okay? So for anybody who wants a trick or a tip when it comes to Wi-Fi, and you have to use Wi-Fi, is instead of getting the newest Wi-Fi router, you can use what's called repeaters. If you get repeaters, that will be able to send your Wi-Fi signal much further, and it's a much cheaper option as well. So the repeaters will just repeat the Wi-Fi signal, so to say, in order for you to get better signal. And you can put them to wherever you're most comfortable to put them in. So I have Wi-Fi 7. Yes, they are certainly more further. They definitely do help out further. But again, I just hope that it's certainly that more devices support Wi-Fi 7 over time. Again, there's not a lot of support quite yet. It's going to be expensive right now if you do get a Wi-Fi 7 router. But for a cheaper option for anybody out there who doesn't want to spend the money for Wi-Fi 7, you can certainly get a repeaters. And repeaters certainly can help your Wi-Fi signal as well. But Wi-Fi 7 is still in the making. Not every device supports it. Hopefully the newer consoles hopefully will support it. Newer TVs will certainly support it eventually. The thing is, they need to come out with more devices, kind of like adapters, so that way you can easily upgrade certain devices, such as a TV that has Wi-Fi. You can upgrade it to like a Wi-Fi 7 adapter, what makes sense, compared to buying a whole new TV with Wi-Fi 7, or having any other devices in the house that requires like a Wi-Fi, like that requires say Wi-Fi 6. You could convert it to Wi-Fi 7 with a adapter, would be nice. Phones, nothing you can do unless they have a USB-C device, kind of, and this be kind of pointless to do that. You might, at that point, might as well get another phone, but it does have its positives. It is also backwards compatible too, so it will connect to Wi-Fi 6 devices as well. It should be an improvement on them because again, it's combined bands. It's not just using single bands compared to what the older routers used to be. Absolutely. Certainly more of a future thing for sure when it comes to it. But as we speak, I know for sure they're working on Wi-Fi 8 as it is. So the thing about tech is you could try to catch the newest tech, but there's always going to be something newer and better. And every time I go to a place like CES, you certainly see it. They have something that's always newer, better, and improved. And there's no way to catch up on that side. But I do certainly hope that everybody did enjoy the stream today. And hopefully I answered a lot of your questions out there. So I saw, let's see. Didn't see the comment. Okay, because I was trying to see that comment. All right, perfect. So hopefully everybody out there did enjoy the stream. I will stream again this upcoming Saturday, 10 a.m. Hopefully we'll be at 10 a.m. Eastern. So depending where you are, hopefully you guys will be perfectly good with that time. If I will do my best to do a Micro Center stream. If I can't, I will certainly update you guys through Discord. If you guys don't follow or be part of the fan bam of Discord, it's right here. Feel free to join. Yes. Thank you. I'm glad you really enjoyed it. It's good to know that there's yeah. Oh wow, thanks again, Zaylink. I appreciate it. I appreciate everybody out there who's joined in. Feel free to join in Discord, and we talk more on there. So even after hours, feel free to show off pictures of your PCs, pictures of your different hardware that you have. So you can talk about anything tech related, or in general if you want to go to the general side. Also, hopefully you found this content very useful. Make sure if you did, if give it a thumbs up, and feel free to subscribe or follow this channel. And I thank everybody for joining us during this live tech talk, and there certainly will be more. Hopefully we can all do a Micro Center trip together. No problem. I love doing these streams, and feel free if you want to see anything in particular, we will try to make it happen. And also to let you guys know, within a couple of weeks, I will be doing streams across abroad. I will be in Taiwan, and the timings may differ, I would assume. If it does, I will update all you guys on Discord and the FanBam, also on Twitter X. I will let you guys know through there as soon, like at least an hour before I stream. But I will be going to a lot of different tech sites while I can over there, so I can share with you guys to show you what it looks like. But it says I have no... Oh, in order to get permission on Discord, if anyone runs into that problem, I'll share with you. Yes. It's also my home. So, let me see. I'll share with you guys. If anybody's having that trouble on Discord, you just have to go up here to Rules. Go to Rules and hit that green check mark right there. If anyone has trouble, hit that green check mark, and that will allow you to be able to see all the other servers and everything. So if you had no permissions, you should have permission now. So again, anybody who is just joining into the FanBam's Discord, just go into the rules side up here onto the top left, which is up there. Rules. Right up there on the top left, and then you should see the server rules. Just go down and then you hit the check mark. So again, if you guys have any requests or wants to see anything, I hope NVIDIA's new, they're supposed to have this new company over in Taiwan, actually in Taipei. They're supposed to have one, so I'm hoping that it's there, and I'll definitely stream it to you guys, because that would be pretty dope to see, right? So, FanBam guys, thanks again so much for watching. Again, if you found this useful, make sure to give it a thumbs up. And also, don't forget to follow and subscribe for more. We'll be streaming again this Saturday, hopefully from Micro Center this time. All right, thanks so much for watching. And feel free to join the Discord, guys. Thanks again, and have a wonderful night.